What is up, guys? We're talking about playoffs. JE Live, this is Jake Ellenbogen here to talk about the Rams backfield. We're going to be talking a little bit about why I believe the Rams yesterday found a little something that, maybe none of us kind of really thought of until yesterday. The Rams trio backfield. Yes, I said trio. I didn't mistake. I'm not talking about Mekhi Sargent. No offense to him. The Rams trio backfield, when they get Cam Akers back, make no mistake about it, all three of those guys are going to have a role come playoff time. And let's just call it like it is. Rams are making the playoffs, okay? They've won 8 games. I understand they haven't looked like the best team in the league over the last 4 weeks, although, yesterday they looked really good. It was against a bad team, but regardless, they looked really good. Here's the fact, okay? They are more than likely making the playoffs. So I don't think I'm going ahead and saying that when it comes down to, say, you have Sony Michel, you have Darrell Henderson, Cam Akers. What it comes down to is the Rams. Here are some facts for you. Yesterday, the Rams had 33 minutes, 45 seconds of time of possession yesterday against the Jaguars. That was their season high, okay? That was their season high. So I understand, they played against the Jaguars. Okay, they're an NFL team. They had the most time of possession yesterday. And by the way, I understand they did that as well against the Texans. So they had, in the games, they had the 2 largest or longest time of possession. They scored 75 points in 2 games total. Now, I understand it's a product of who they're playing, sure, but there are things that I was noticing, and specifically the fact that Sean McVay, simply put, made adjustments when he needed to. Sean McVay made adjustments, and here's the fact, okay? The Rams have done this, like I was saying on the preview, like I was saying in the post game. The Rams have done this before. They did it with Todd Gurley, and they did it with C.J. Anderson. You have Mr. Copycat coach Sean McVay that has copied other teams and molded it into his own little thing, added a new wrinkle to the offense, things like that. If you're not copying, you're not trying in the NFL. It is a copycat league. So where am I going with this? Why am I talking about a trio? They never use split back formation. Well, maybe they would consider copying the same thing, the same recipe that knocked them out in the playoffs last year in the divisional round against the Packers. Oh, what am I talking about? Don't you remember Matt LaFleur? He had very talented running backs and A.J. Dillon. He had, you ever hear of Aaron Jones, one of the best running backs in football? And on top of it, he had Jamal Williams. So what did he do instead of not using the 3? He used all 3 of them, sometimes on the field at once. I'm not even talking about the Rams having to use all 3 on the field at the same time. That doesn't need to happen for it to be a good trio. However, it would work. It would go well. But if you look at what the Rams are doing, I just watched all 22. I can tell you right now, it was a different offense. They ran a completely different offense. And we could choose to look at, Sony Michel was a better running back yesterday than Henderson's been all season. I would disagree, but I have my own thoughts on that. That's not what this is about. What it's about is taking Sony Michel and the things that he brings to the table and the things he does well, taking Darrell Henderson, the things he brings to the table, the things he does well, and taking Cam Akers, the things he brings to the table and the things he does well, mashing them up and using them as a nonstop weapon to take down any team in the playoffs. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't care if it was Jacksonville yesterday. If the Rams run with that type of game plan week in and week out, it's going to be incredibly difficult to stop them. What did we talk about when Matthew Stafford came over the Rams and why I was so excited? For multiple reasons. One thing we talked about was this. When you have a very good passing attack and you have a quarterback that can keep teams honest and can throw over the top and scares teams, essentially what that does is it allows you to now keep defenses honest and like, okay, hey, he's going to throw that 40-yard play down the field with Kupp or Jefferson or, Deshaun. We have to keep him, not Deshaun, what the hell am I saying? Odell. We have to keep him honest And in that regard, we have to assume that we can't just, like last year when teams would just stack the box. They put 8, 9 guys right in the box to make sure the Rams couldn't run the football because they did not trust Jared Goff to throw down the field. Well, now Stafford, you're looking at around 30 touchdowns on the season. Stafford is moving the ball. Stafford's throwing the ball. Yeah, he's had his moments, but for the most part, he's been great this season, and it's basically allowed them now to have more opportunities downfield. And look, I understand that there are times where he'll throw, an interception, bad pass, whatever, but they know that the Rams aren't afraid to throw down the field. They need to be more so in cover 2. They need to defend that, and they can't be stacking the box. They can't be trying to plan for the run. So how does this work, and how are the Rams an unstoppable force if they can continue doing this? Well, first off, it works because, okay, the Rams want to run 13 personnel, right? You have 2 tight ends, and you're going to use another offensive lineman as the tight end in that position like they use Joseph Noteboom. In that regard, if you're doing that, now you have this 13 personnel grouping. You have guys all over the line of scrimmage, and you've basically told everyone and their mother that you are running the football. Well, here's the problem, okay? When you're running that and they can't stop you, and then they try to make adjustments to that, they take themselves out of the initial game plan, which was initially to make sure that Cooper Kupp doesn't get the football. So what happened? What happened against the Jaguars? Well, I'll tell you. Initially, the plan was to make sure that Cooper Kupp didn't get the football. They were trying to stop him. He had 0 catches for 0 yards at one point, and they weren't ready for the Rams' rushing attack. Well, here's what happened, guys. Here's what happened. When they started running the football and having some success, and the Jaguars realized, oh, that's the game plan. I mean, I can't blame Jacksonville. The Rams haven't done that all year. So Jacksonville all of a sudden is like, okay, I guess they're running. So they make adjustments to stop that said running, rushing attack. And what that did was open up opportunities for a guy like Cooper Kupp, which is why he ended up with over 100 yards on the day, had 10 catches or 8 catches or whatever he had, and had a touchdown. It's because he made adjustments. Now, the interesting and then the intriguing thing about this is that the Rams end up playing a team like, say, Arizona. They play them on Monday Night Football next Monday. So this is very intriguing because here's the thing, guys. Arizona still hasn't figured out how to stop the run. Teams just, for whatever reason, are arrogant, ignorant, and try to throw over the top. If you didn't know, the Arizona Cardinals have the best pass defense in DVOA in the league. It's not close. So, what does that mean? Well, it means you should probably attack their 26th ranked run defense this year. I don't know. Maybe that's something we said in week 3, and for whatever reason, teams, they do a little bit of it, and then they go away from it. Well, what I'm saying is with the Rams, they've put together this game plan now, this blueprint, this identity, that's very key word, identity of their offense, where now essentially they can run the ball, they can keep Arizona honest, they can utilize play action, going back to the roots, the key roots of the offense initially, and on top of that, Arizona, who may want to stop Cooper Kupp, who had 5 catches on 13 targets the last time they played him, they want to stop him from getting any sort of semblance of a receiving game going. If they want to do that, fine, but you might be able to run all over them until they make adjustments to stop your rushing attack. And when they do that, then you can go back and you can use the play action passing attack and you can hit Cooper Kupp. He's going to get open. And that's really what it comes down to. That's about as simple as I can make it. They are going to complement each other. But we're just talking about the offense, okay? And we're just talking about the way you can use the rushing attack to allow the passing attack to take over and have more effect. Well, here's the thing. When you're utilizing running the football, you'll notice it takes more time off the clock. When it takes more time off the clock, your time of possession goes up. When your time of possession goes up, defenses get gassed. And that's a big thing. But on top of it, what's not being talked about enough is the Rams defense. For the second time all season, Jacksonville did not get over 200 yards. It's only happened twice. The Rams are one of the defenses that did that. And here's the thing, okay? with Jacksonville, it doesn't matter who they were. The Rams only allowed 7 points, and the reason being is because they weren't on the field for more than half the game. If you look, it is almost incredible how the Rams even had a chance at the end of the day. The Rams even had a chance to be able to hang in there with the Packers. Do you know why? Because the Packers had 40 out of 60 minutes of time of possession. They held the ball more than half the game. That's insane. And that's not conducive to winning football. You'll hear me say that a lot. That is not. And so, when you have a team that's holding 2 out of, 2/3 of the game, they're holding the football. That's how you know it's too much. And they have to continue on their path of what they're doing. So this trio is going to allow the Rams to be able to run the football. There's no excuses anymore. You saw what they can do. If the offensive line isn't getting enough push, which they normally always do, if they're not, they can add a 6th guy there. They can go 12 personnel. They can go 13. Look at what Darrell Henderson is doing this season. He's averaging 4.6 yards per carry, predominantly out of 11 personnel. So his grouping hasn't been as big. It hasn't been as run-friendly, but he's gaining yards. And he's not even the starter when Cam Akers comes back. So when you really think about it, all 3 of them possess an ability that the other guy does not have. Darrell Henderson is the best pass protector on the team at running back, and it's not close. He is very good, so that is a need. Whereas Sony Michel, you have the more power game about him. He runs with more power than Darrell Henderson. He breaks more tackles. Okay. And then you have Cam Akers, who creates yards that simply neither of the two do. He slips a lot of tackles. What I mean by creating yards that aren't there is when you have a block and it doesn't go over well and you have a guy there, you can make him miss. You're creating yards that just simply aren't there. It's not yards that your blocker has opened up. Cam Akers can make a man miss. He makes subtle adjustments, assuming he is fully healthy by, January. This is going to be a fun thing to watch. And with the trio, there's now no more excuse to abandon the run. And what do I mean by that? Sean McVay utilized that idea that, Henderson's been getting hurt. He hasn't been able to get into the right flow of things. There's no excuse now. You have 3 running backs in January that, have the potential to go over 100 yards if given 20 carries a game. And that is really special. But Cam Akers is the one that kind of takes it up a notch. Cam Akers is the one that allows you, if he's fully healthy, he can be your game breaker. He can rip off 50-yard runs that you're, in need of. And most importantly, Cam Akers and Sony Michel, they can take on 20-plus carries. Henderson can take on carries. You look at Henderson's pass-catching ability. Sony Michel, not the best pass-catching back, but he's all right. And then Cam Akers is a very good pass-catching back. So there's a lot of things there. There's a lot of different elements, a lot of different wrinkles that are added to this offense. But when you have that, when you're going up against a team like Green Bay in the playoffs, or you're going up against a team like Dallas, or you're going up against a team like Arizona again, or San Francisco, or Tampa, you're going to need to diversify your offense. And that is a big thing. It's why yesterday wasn't just a win. It wasn't just a good day at the office. It wasn't just a good rushing performance. It wasn't good a blocking performance. It was great all around because it showed you what happens. Matthew Stafford still threw 3 touchdowns. Matthew Stafford still threw a ton. Okay? He threw a ton of passes in this game. Matthew Stafford still threw almost 300 yards and averaged almost 8 yards per pass. But still, they were able, while going over 400 yards of total offense, they were able to establish the run, keep the run going, and throw and get, obviously 3 passing touchdowns out of it. Now, here's the interesting thing that becomes even more impressive is the fact that really they went a ton back to the play action passing attack. I think that's very important. I've been saying it over and over again. They need to utilize more play action. It's something that I've been begging for, to be honest with you, as sad as that might sound. That is the original blueprint of their offense. But as Jordan Rodriguez pointed out on Twitter, per True Media, Matthew Stafford was 7 of 9 for 128 on play action passes under center, and 3 of 3 for 45 on play action passes from the gun. That is on 38 attempts. So we had in total, that's 12 play action passes, and he only missed 3 of them. So he went 9 of 12 for over 150 yards in passing. Play action opens up so much. It's ridiculous. It's one of those things where you may not realize it, but at the end of the day, play action's huge. It really is. I've been saying it for a reason. But the fact of the matter is this. The Rams could be a run-first team, and that wouldn't be probably utilizing Stafford to the best of his ability. But they could do that, and then if anything panics, anything goes, wrong, they could just go to Stafford. That's the great thing. That's why you got Stafford. There's all this narrative, all these narratives out there. You got Stafford to win games Goff couldn't. Okay, well, the most important game for, Matthew Stafford to be able to win that Jared Goff couldn't is the Super Bowl. If he doesn't win the Super Bowl, then there's not really anything there. This is the objective. This is why the Rams went out and got Von Miller. This is why they went out and got OBJ. This is why they went out and got Stafford. They want to win a Super Bowl. Well, they have the ingredients to do it. First off, I'll say this. When you watch the NFL, is there one team in particular that really comes to mind that, wow, that's the Super Bowl team this year? No one can beat them. Because if you had anybody that you picked, you're probably wrong. The best team that I've seen this year is Arizona, and I see ways, easy ways, to take them down, especially with their run defense, which is very much neglected. So I will say that, I think that right now the Rams found something I think the rest of the league should be afraid of, because simply put, this defense will be fine if they only have to play at most 30 minutes of a 60-minute game. But I mean, ideally you'd want them to play less than half the game. It's just ideal, but that's what it comes down to. The running game can help the defense. The running game can help the passing attack. The running game is essentially going to be a way of complementing everything, and I think that's a big thing there. Now, another thing, the Rams running game, of course, is good, but you know what's even better? The fact that the Rams can stop the run. The Rams are the best defense at stopping the run over the last 5 weeks now. They've held teams to 3.1 before this game. The last 4 games, 3 games, they had held the Rams to 3.1, or not the Rams, Rams opponents to 3.1 yards per carry. That's great. I mean, that's, that they're dominating. Yesterday they held Jacksonville to 2.4. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Now, with everyone wondering, who should start, why should it be Sony Michel, here's what I think. I think they should just, until, Cam Akers comes in here, they're really going to want to split time. They're going to want to be able to run the football 35 times a game. That's what it comes down to. Because who's going to stop them if Henderson's averaging, 6.4 like he did against Arizona, and Sony Michel's averaging at least 5? I mean, really, that's my thing. You look at what Arizona was doing with James Conner and Chase Edmonds. You could do something similar to that, but I think the blueprint in the playoffs has to be the way the Packers utilize their rushing attack. I mean, keep in mind, Aaron Rodgers, one of the best, if not the best quarterback in football right now. And they were still running the football at will against the Rams, and I think that's the blueprint there. But guys, appreciate everyone filing in here. We're getting some viewers, trying to get back into the good graces of YouTube, because for whatever reason my videos haven't been recommended as much as the past. So be sure to give this a like. It will tell YouTube that you like this and will recommend it to other people that watch the same things that you do. So please give this a like. Also, just letting you know, this video and this live stream, whatever you want to call it, is brought to you by MyBookie and PrizePicks. You can go over to both of them, get double deposit using the promo codes above, JKDTR for MyBookie and DTRams for PrizePicks. Yesterday I won $200 on a $20 PrizePicks pick. I went over on everything. I went over on Kirk Cousins, Andy Dalton. I'm trying to think right off the top of my head, but Justin Herbert, the over on the receiving yards of Jalen Waddle, and then there was another guy. But yeah, you can win money pretty quickly on that. So highly recommend that app. If you guys are interested, I'll post different lineups on the Discord. If you haven't already joined the Discord, you can. It is in the link, the description link. But yeah, how's everyone doing? I know that was a lot to take in. It was about over 20 minutes. Went on a little bit of a rant, but appreciate y'all. Now that I've said my piece, I'm happy to answer some questions here. What's up, KMG? CT Ramsden was the latest going on Cam's rehab. I don't know the details, but he does look very good. He looks like he'll be ready for January. Let's see. I'd like to add a veteran running back to the practice squad or pick someone up off another team's practice squad for depth. I don't think they'll do that unless, God forbid, Sony or Daryl goes down, but I feel pretty good about where they're at right now. I think Javian Hawkins would add another element to their running game right now because he'd be the fastest running back they have. Hawkins is fast. We're talking 4.4 speed. Can really help you pass catching out of the backfield, shifty type of guy. I was surprised he didn't get the nod. I thought, they could have given him some valuable repetitions, in a blowout. Definitely, I was a little surprised, but I'm very excited about this potential three-headed monster backfield. I think it's the right way to go because, guys, think about this. Yeah, Cam Akers will probably be healthy in January. Do you really want Cam Akers running the football 20-plus times and risking injury? I don't think it's realistic for Cam Akers to come off this injury, which I believe is a partially torn Achilles. They're saying it's a fully torn Achilles. I feel like if it was fully torn, he wouldn't be back. But my thing is, if Akers comes back from this, which it is very much likely, and it looks like it's going to happen. Sean McVay basically said it's going to happen. Assuming he does, you're not going to just throw him into the fire and have him running 20 plus times in the playoffs. You're not. If you're going to want to run the football, you could run about 40 times across those three backs. Now, keep this in mind, though. You got to be careful because while you do have three backs and three backs that do different things and could get, going, it's almost, you ride that fine line of, man, I love the running backs, but it's like if Sony Michel or Darrell Henderson or Cam Akers, they get into a serious rhythm, you don't want to take them out of that necessarily. So you have to be smart about it. But as long as it's utilized the right way, the Rams can really make the most on that. Ranking the three at each thing, I think the best vision would obviously go to Cam Akers. I do think Darrell Henderson has better vision than Sony Michel. If I was talking about, say, the pass protecting, I would say Darrell Henderson's the best pass protector of the three. Sony Michel would be number 2, and Cam Akers would be number 3. He's got to get better in that area. Then you look at pass catching, I'd probably say Darrell Henderson, Cam Akers, 1A, 1B, Sony Michel behind them. Then if I'm looking at breaking tackles, I'd probably go Cam Akers 1, Sony Michel 2, Darrell Henderson 3. Tackles missed, elusiveness, so to speak, probably going with Akers 1, Henderson 2, Sony Michel 3. So, these guys all offer different things. And that's the great thing. It's not, it's not all about, say, Sony Michel is always number 3. Because I think in other areas he can be 2, he can be 1. That's the thing that makes this trio so good. I don't think, Cam Akers is good in most areas, better than them in most areas, but he's not the best in every area, especially pass protecting. So it does allow value for those guys. I think it's smart to get them going. I think we all can agree Cam Akers just offers more. He's a better blend of a running back than any other on the roster, so he is the best overall. Jake, you done with the jet sweep concept then? Here's the thing. I really like the jet motion when utilized, but here's the problem with the jet motion. when you're using the jet motion, it does work, but you can't really do that when you're running the 13 personnel. And I think the Rams kind of showed they want to go more to a power run, 13 personnel, put 6 offensive linemen out there, put 2 tight ends, things like that. And if you're going to do that, then you're not going to be able to run that, that jet motion. If they're going to do jet motion, which they did. If you didn't notice, they did have a lot of motioning, when they were in 11 personnel, but they won't do it in the 12 personnel grouping or the 13. They might do it in 12. They're definitely not doing it in 13. That's not really possible. So, it might be a little bit of a death to the jet motion, but, we'll see. I think Jacob Harris would have thrived yesterday, though. I think that was his style of game. I think he would have caught that touchdown if instead of him, if it was him instead of Blanton. And I think I was asked earlier today, Jake, do you feel on Twitter, by a friend of mine on Twitter, Scott, and, he was asking me straight up, he's like, hey, Jake, do you feel like Sean McVay initially planned on going to this 12-13 personnel grouping, during the playoffs, but the Rams started to struggle and he had to kind of utilize it now? And I thought that was a really good point he made because, there is a potential that was the case. However, I don't think we'll ever know for sure. I think it's more likely a guy like Jacob Harris was going to have a bigger role in the playoffs. They were waiting for him. They were waiting for him in the playoffs. They weren't going to show their full hand when it came to him. But then he gets hurt and it kind of ruined that. So that's a bummer that he got hurt, man. I was excited for him. I did see Allen went out. I just watched the All-22. I can tell you Coleman Shelton in pass protection is probably better than Brian Allen. Brian Allen's good in the run game. Shelton's solid. I wouldn't say Shelton's a better run blocker than Brian Allen, but I think in the pass protecting area, I think that he's probably better. Tony, I almost agree with you. Cam can't pass protect the way the other two can. He's not. That's a big weakness of his, and that's something I noticed. He's a great running back. He has all the tools to be, top 5 in the league. Great vision, speed, creates yardage. He uses his blocks well, sets things up, and he gets great pad level, but a big issue with him is that he is such a liability in pass pro. Actually, I won't say such a liability. He is a liability at this point. He's going to get better. I'm just saying as of right now, I would take Darrell Henderson and Sony Michel as a pass protector over Cam Akers. And that's the one area where I would say by far they are better than Cam Akers at. What's up, DXNES? How we doing? Jacob Harris released the Kraken. That's funny. Yeah, Van's got to do a better job, though. He's dropped some... Well, let's put it this way. He's dropped some passes that Van Jefferson shouldn't be dropping. We'll just say that. Yeah, but then look at the way the Niners, look at the blueprint of the Niners, okay? First off, the Rams spotted them 14 right off the rip. So don't forget about that. We're going to go into it. I'll go through it right now. So the Rams and the Niners game. What happened in the Rams and the Niners game? Okay, so in San Francisco, you get the crowd going because right off the rip, you give up a touchdown to George Kittle on an 18-yard drive. Or 18-play drive, 93 yards. They go 93 yards. They take up nearly the entire first quarter, and there you go. But then you come out, and you throw a pick six. So now it's 14-0 going into the second, and you respond. You throw a 10-yard touchdown, a 7-play, 75-yard drive to Tyler Higbee. But what was the issue with that drive? I understand you take points how you're going to get them, but, I'll say this. I will say this right now. You'll take points however you're going to get them. You like touchdowns, but quick touchdowns, quick drives. After giving up 18 plays, 93 yards. Okay? You had the interception, the pick six in the first quarter. Your defense has some time to take a breather because you're back on the offense. And then you throw a touchdown. You go down the field 75 yards in under 3 minutes, and you put that defense back on the field that just had an 18-play, 93-yard, 11-minute drive. And they're gassed. And then right after that, oh, shocker, they have an 11-play, 91-yard, 7-minute, 52 drive. And that's the thing here. So now all of a sudden you're down 21-7. You've now had, you've given up 7:52. You've given up 7:52 off the clock. When they scored, there's 5:24 left in the first half, up 21-7. And then in the third quarter, you're not running the football. I understand it's 21-7. Darrell Henderson's averaging 6 yards per carry in this game. Sony Michel's averaging 5, and you don't run the football. Again, I understand you're down 2 touchdowns. It looks bad. But, I mean, you can't abandon the run. When you abandon the run, you are giving up. This game right here, I'm not saying they could have won this game. It was 31-10. But you can see why it ended up being that way. And the Niners, they had 5.2 yards per play. The Rams had 5.1. The Rams, I mean, the Niners won this game because they dominated the time of possession. 39 minutes. 39 minutes. The defense gave what? 335 yards? They gave up 335 yards in 31 points. They didn't give up 31 points. They gave up 24 or whatever. And then you had the awful fake field goal or whatever the hell that was. But, I mean, the Rams, this is change. Like, you can fix this. And, again, I've said this over and over again. Deebo Samuel ran well. Everyone else did not. 3.4 yards per carry average at Elijah Mitchell. Okay? Jeffrey Wilson averaged 2.8. Deebo Samuel was the only one that really did anything. Jimmy Garoppolo just dinked and dunked his way to 141.7 passer rating. So, I think that the Rams found something yesterday, and they're going to need to utilize it because I think it's very imperative. It's very important that they keep their defense off the field as much as they can. It's not saying that the defense is bad. It's saying the problem is this year with the extra game, the defense has already been on the field so much. Think about it. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to see if we can find it because it's ridiculous how much the defense has been on the field. Probably more than any other team. Maybe not. But that bend don't break and the quick drives, there's a chance. So I'm going to try and look this up, but it's been unbelievable. I mean, let's see, opponent time of possession. So opponent time of possession, the Rams lead, or no, they're third in the league in opponent time for possession over the last 3 games. That's 58.31% opponent time of possession. Let's see, last year, the time of possession for the Rams, for opponents, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the Rams defense was 5th last year in opponent time of possession. That's good, by the way. You want to be high on that. So they were 5th in time of possession allowed. And this year, they are 28th. And among these teams, this is how good the Rams are, by the way. This is what tells you that they are legit. They make stupid mistakes. They give up a lot of time possession, but at the end of the day, Listen to these teams that they are surrounded by in time of possession. There's no team that gives up more time of possession than the Seattle Seahawks. They are last. They are 4-8, whatever. They're not a very good football team. Next up, you have the Jacksonville Jaguars at 55.09%, and we all know that they're not very good. They're 2-10 on the season. Houston, another team, 2 wins, and they're 54.89% giving up time of possession battle. Detroit, 52.81%, and Detroit, they just got their first win. And then you have the Rams at 28, and they are giving up 52.51% time of possession battle. So on average, 52.51% of the time, teams they have more time of possession than the Rams. And they're 28. They're also 8-4. Okay, the Giants, they have 4 wins. They're 27th. The Jets, they're not very good. They're 26th. The Raiders. So the Raiders and the Rams have been able to overcome poor time possession battles, as well as the Chargers here. In the bottom half of the league, I mean, they are really in the bottom half, and they're the best teams in that bunch. And that tells me that besides the fact that they're giving teams way more time to score on them, way more time on the offensive, they're still winning games. The Rams have won 8 games, and they're 28th in opponent time of possession. That's really good. Now imagine how many wins that they'd have if they didn't get blown off the ball in time of possession. Think about that. So that's a big thing there. And I think the run game is really going to help that. And I think they know it's going to help that, because time of possession battle, you don't have to win every single time of possession battle. You just don't. But you can't lose every time of possession battle. And you can't be giving up 39 to 40 minutes of time of possession to your opponent. You just can't. That's why this is a realistic score. If you lose the time of possession battle by 20 minutes, this is realistic to lose 31-10 against the Niners. Entirely a realistic thing. And this is, to me, why I look at the Packers and I'm not entirely convinced, despite the injuries, I get it, but I'm not entirely convinced they're the new Super Bowl favorite. They're the new can't-miss NFC dominant team. I understand they're undefeated at home. But this game was an 8-point game, and they held the ball for 39 minutes and 40 seconds of this game. That is incredible. They only had, keep in mind, they possessed the football for 19 more minutes than the Rams. And they only had just under 50 more yards of total offense than the Rams. So that tells me that the Rams have it. They have the offense. They have the defense. But when you have the defense on the field for 40 minutes of a 60-minute game, 2/3 of the game, yeah, it's not going to work out in your favor. It's just not, most of the time. Unless you get lucky and you get some turnovers, which this game they got 1. But it goes to show you, man. It goes to show you, the Rams being in these games against top teams, despite getting dominated in time of possession, even be in this game, it shows you the Rams did battle back. And yes, we had an issue with the way they played, and yes, the result wasn't great, but after giving up essentially 16 points in the third quarter, the game wasn't that bad. They went down 17-20 at the half. For the Rams to come back after giving up, it's 36-17. They scored 11 unanswered in the fourth and had a shot to potentially tie the game if they got the onside kick, which some teams have this season, despite losing the time possession battle by 20 minutes. Goes to show you, man. It's, a lot of teams are struggling right now. That's a big thing, Arizona really is the only team I've seen that they're the best team right now. But they were god awful against the Panthers, and they didn't beat the Packers at home. They didn't take care of business there. But they're probably the best team that I've seen. But this is a huge opportunity for the Rams. And they gotta get back to doing what they do best, because right now, like, you look at Dallas, for instance. I mean, Dallas doesn't look particularly good. They've lost, 3 of the last 5? That's a team that some thought were going to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, my point is that all these teams are working through stuff. You know, the Patriots. Patriots look like the best team in the AFC. We'll see tonight, but they look like they would be my pick to win the AFC right now. They're undefeated on the road. But let's not forget how they started the season 1-3. They started the season 1-3. They lost the first game to the Dolphins, who took forever to win the next game after that. But that's the thing. This league, it tests you. These teams are not necessarily the best all year long. That doesn't always happen. We don't always get, the undefeated Patriots. We don't always get the 15-1 Steelers. Like, that doesn't always happen. You don't always see, even the 13-3 Rams. They were amazing the first 8 games, and then they lost to the Saints. Then they came back, and then they beat the Chiefs 54-51, and they're looking amazing, and then they dropped 2 straight not long after that. So, I mean, teams go through these moments. Not everyone is perfect. I mean, you look at Tampa. Tampa right now, they have 3 losses on the season. And by the way, with Tampa Bay, you look at they beat the Falcons, great. They're 4-3 on the road. So if this team doesn't get the number 1 seed, I mean, the calculations would show that, I mean, look at this Buccaneers team. They don't win on the road. They lost to the Rams. They lost to the Saints. They lost to Washington. I mean, they do win on the road. They've won 4, but they've lost 3. Got to win football on the road. And they've been in some tough games. You could argue that Colts game, they had to rally back. The Eagles game. The Patriots game. I mean, Nick Folk hits that, they lost. They have 4 losses. The Cowboys game. I mean, that's the thing, is like Tampa Bay at no point in this season has looked by far the best team. The Rams have at times. Arizona has at times. I mean, that's the thing, is that this league is just so unpredictable. The Vikings lost to Detroit after the Vikings all of a sudden beat the Packers, and they kind of breathed the life. They beat Rodgers. They breathed the life back in themselves, and they dropped 2 straight. They drop a close game to the 49ers, and then they drop a game to a team that hasn't won all season. Now they have to play the Steelers, coming off a win against the Ravens, who, I mean, the Steelers were just blown out by 40, and then they go and they beat the Ravens. So my point is that this league isn't figured out, and noticing the signs, like the Rams are giving off, like, oh, hey, the Rams were getting dominated in time of possession battle the majority of the season, and we're still winning football games. We're still in it. As long as they got that fixed, which I do feel like they can use what they did against the Jaguars and apply it, they have a really good chance to do what I said they'd do before the season and win the Super Bowl. And, I would love to get a number 1 seed. That'd be great. But if they don't, they're going to have to figure out, they're going to have to win another game. That's what it comes down to. Won't be the first time it's ever happened. 5 seed going into the Super Bowl. Buccaneers actually did it the first year, the only year that this has ever been done so far. The 7-team playoff structure. The only time it's happened. I mean, obviously it's going to happen continuously, but the only time it's been completed, the Buccaneers, the 5 seed that did not win home field advantage, they did not even win their division. They went on the road the whole way through, and then they played 1 home game in the Super Bowl. So, this literally happened last year. It's not far-fetched. The Rams, they could be the team that has to go through the gauntlet, play all these road games in the playoffs, and then go to the Super Bowl, and oh my God, they have a home game. Although I think it would be technically the AFC home, but come on now. It's not like it matters. Rams will be the home team. Come on. Time of possession has been a big thing, so hopefully they get that figured out. But that starts, it's not as simple as, oh, let's take longer to snap the ball. Let's take longer. Let's run longer plays. It doesn't work that way. You have to be, you have to have some sort of balance. Like the way they did, they threw 38 times, they ran 27. That's a good balance. Yeah, you threw a little bit more. Probably didn't need to, but you did. Totally fine. I mean, if Matthew Stafford is going 26 of 38 for 295 and 3 touchdowns in a game where you were able to have a 100-yard rusher, have a 129-yard receiver, that's a good day at the office. But there's a reason for that. I think that's the important thing here. James, my take, I look at the Rams-Cardinals game, and I just go back to that game in week 3, and, I mean, it really comes down to abandonment of the run. We all know, I don't think it's knowledge that's hidden, not week 3, week 4. It's not knowledge that's hidden that Arizona can't stop the run. They haven't been able to do it. They're, among the worst in the league at stopping the run. But the Rams already know this because they did run the football early on. Henderson, for 14 carries, went for 89 yards, 6.4 average. Sony Michel, he didn't run super well. Three carries, 11 yards. But my point is that they abandoned the run. I mean, Darrell Henderson had a 100-yard game easily in the bag, and they abandoned the run because they went down early. Now, if you look at this game, the Rams scored first. They kicked a field goal on a 9-play, 52-yard drive. First off, got to turn those field goals. These 42-yarders have to be in the end zone. You got to be more, punctuational. You have to capitalize on that. So that's a big thing there. Then you had the A.J. Green 41-yard touchdown from Kyler Murray, something that, look, I don't know if that happens because, I mean, is David Long even going to be covering anybody? He was inactive. I think he was also sick, but David Long isn't normally covering guys on the boundary like that. Okay? So, is that going to happen on Monday Night Football? Probably not, but maybe it was. I don't know. But David Long had a huge role then. The Rams learned more about their defense. They learned more about the personnel. And so since, he hasn't played as much. What's up, Brandon? Thank you so much for donating. What up, Jake? I think the Rams still have a shot for the 2 seed if we win Monday night. Like you said, it just takes for them to get hot. Absolutely. I mean, they could run the table. I think it's entirely realistic. I don't look at these teams and think it's entirely impossible that they couldn't run the table. If they beat Arizona, then they just have the Vikings and the Seahawks upcoming. Then they have the Ravens and the Niners. I mean, none of those teams are unbeatable. We'll put it that way. If they could beat the Cardinals, none of those teams are unbeatable. Although I know the Niners look it. But if you go with this recipe, if you continue to run like that, utilize the play action passing attack, and don't allow the Niners to breathe away the clock, that game might be on Sunday Night Football, and that game might be to decide who gets into. The Rams could be playing for the number 1 seed and potentially the division, and the Niners, if things work out, the Niners could end up be playing for the playoffs. That game could be massive. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Van Jefferson then catches a touchdown with 52 seconds left to go in the first quarter on a 9-play, 75-yard drive, longest drive of the game for either team, and the Rams go up 10-7 going into the second quarter. Everyone forgot about that. The Rams went up 10-7. They responded to Arizona, and then, you had a moment in the game. I mean, we can go through all of the moments here, play by play. And by the way, that touchdown came off the interception. Henderson ran for 7, and then right after that, Matthew Stafford threw a deep pass to Deshaun Jackson, which I thought he could have done a better job of going up and defending it. But it got picked off by Byron Murphy. They had that. And then right after that, they capitalized on the touchdown pass to A.J. Green. The Rams, though, didn't let that interception kill them, because right after that, they responded with that drive. Matthew Stafford bounced back for 9 plays, 75 yards, longest drive of the game. You had some good things. You had Henderson running for 15. You had Tyler Higbee going for 7. You had Henderson running for 9. Henderson running for 15. Sony Michel running for 9. Sony Michel up the middle for 2. And then Van Jefferson, the 14-yard touchdown. So you utilize both running backs on that drive, the best drive of that game to this point. So what happens? Then Arizona comes back out. The defense has a hard time stopping them, obviously, because they can't stop Kyler Murray. And so they respond. So all of a sudden, it's looking like, okay, Arizona's legit, and these two are juggernauts, and it's going to be a back-and-forth little shootout we got going on here. Because right off the rip, you have the Rams responding. Now you have Arizona responding. So let's see. The Rams come back out, trying to match. 14-10. What happens? Sony Michel, right tackle to the LA 25 for no gain, and he fumbles. And so right then and there, the Arizona Cardinals are getting the ball at the 21-yard line of the Rams. So while this is going to be a back-and-forth shootout, from what it looked like, Sony Michel's fumble kills the Rams' momentum. Then after that, of course, at the 21-yard line, the Arizona Cardinals respond. They have some yards there, and then James Conner punches it in. Now Arizona's up 21-10. How do the Rams respond? Well, they don't respond well. On the kickoff, then, you have 1st and 10, pass incomplete to Kupp, pass incomplete to Woods. Then he throws a nice pass to Van, gets the first down. Really, this drive was kind of, interesting and kind of confusing in a sense, because the Rams converted a tough 3rd down in their own territory, got it to Van. On 1st and 10, they go deep to Kupp. It's a penalty on Jalen Thompson for defensive holding. It's now going to put the Rams at the 44-yard line, and then they have a pass incomplete to Henderson. They complete a 7-yard pass to Henderson, and then 3rd and 3 here, probably should have run the football. They go short middle to Kupp. It's broken up, and then it's 4th and 3 at Arizona 49, and they punt, and that's it. And so now all of a sudden, you're like, okay, it's 21-10. They really needed points, and they needed to be able to respond, and they weren't able to do it on that drive. And if you notice on that drive, listen, pass incomplete, pass short right, pass incomplete, pass short right, pass short middle, incomplete. It's all passing. So immediately, the Rams just abandoned what made that drive so great, the 9-play, 75-yard drive that went 4 minutes and 58 seconds. They abandoned the run against the Cardinals. Cardinals couldn't stop them, whether it was Sony Michel or it was Darrell Henderson. They weren't stopping them in that game. So that's a big thing there. So they weren't able to respond after the Cardinals took advantage of the 21-yard line, placement of the football because of the fumble. So what does the defense do? Defense gets a lot of crap, but this was a very crucial drive. They force a 3-and-out. So the Rams punted. They got a little bit there. They forced a 3-and-out. And then the thing that was so important about this, by the way, is that this all of a sudden becomes somewhat of a chess match, because they punted and they got some decent field position. They pinned Arizona inside the 15. Arizona then, by 3-and-out, punts it. And so because they punted it from the Arizona 15 on the 3-and-out, great job by the defense, they only get 41 yards out of it. LA to the LA 44, Tutu Atwell pushed out of bounds, the LA 48. And then the Rams now have the opportunity now at the LA 48. They go 9 plays, 48 yards, and get a field goal. And here's the thing. Field goal's fine, but it really would have helped to have a touchdown on this drive. You're at the 4-yard line, 4th and goal. You kick a 22-yard field goal. I mean, that's a win for Arizona, because you won the chess match. You had them where the ball was placed on the field. You did it. Field position was huge. You did it. You won the chess match. And then that happens, and it's like, it's a win for Arizona. They will give that up. But what happened here on this drive, and how did they score? Well, you had Darrell Henderson, Darrell Henderson. So two straight runs for Henderson, incomplete to Deshaun Jackson, deep middle to Kupp for 35, delay of game, and then Tyler Higbee for 18. Henderson up the middle, passing complete short middle to Kupp, passing complete short left to Kupp, and then field goal. What I don't understand is you get 6 yards out of Henderson on first and goal at the 10. That puts you at the 4. 2nd and 4, why are you throwing again? Why are you throwing again on 3rd? This is the thing, is that I'm hoping, the way the Rams adapted in the Jaguars game, that McVay will go back to running the football. He did it with Sony Michel in the goal line. It worked. But this is the moment now where the Rams have kind of figured it out, hopefully, where they can run 12, 13 personnel at the goal line here and run it with Michel or Cam Akers or Darrell Henderson in the playoffs. Against the Cardinals next week, obviously not Henderson, but you get Cam Akers, but you got my point. So they sell for a field goal here, but even still, 21-13. Like, this game ended up being 37-20. The Rams are still in this thing. So what happens here? It's this drive that really ruins it, because the Rams, they leave some time on the clock, about 3:22. It's imperative. They're kicking off. It's imperative for the defense to get a stop here, because if the defense stops them, they can go 2 for 1. The Rams are not getting the ball to start the second half. So they know they can go 2 for 1. They have to go 2 for 1 here, because if they don't, Arizona gets the ball in the second half. So right before the half, they give up a 17-play, 70-yard drive. It takes up 3:18, pretty much the entire half of, against the Rams. And this is just nicely done by the Cardinals. They're just constantly, short passes, getting the first down. They came back from an offensive holding. I mean, they really did a nice job of doing this. And yeah, the defense stops them, but they still get a field goal out of it. And because they went 17 plays and only got a field goal, you would think the Rams won that. But in reality, if the Rams defense held them and it was 21-13 going into half, the field goal that comes out of the half by Arizona wouldn't have been so bad. So now, instead of it being 24-13 after their first play of the second half, instead it's 27-13. The Rams end up missing the only field goal Matt Gay's missed all season long at the 46. But if you look at this drive, they get it to 25. Henderson right tackle for 4. The pass that was intercepted, it got overturned because of the roughing the passer. So, the Rams kind of got a bone thrown their way, because the roughing the passer, as bad as that was, and it is a penalty, it didn't force the interception, but Matthew Stafford does have a pass deep middle that's picked off by Marco Wilson that is wiped off the board due to that roughing the passer on Isaiah Simmons. Then you have an 11-yard run by Henderson. You have a 9-yard pass to Kupp, 3-yard run by Henderson, pass to Henderson, pass to Deshaun Jackson. They go deep to Cooper Kupp. It's incomplete. 4th and 4 at Arizona 27. They kick a 46-yard field goal. It's no good. To me, what happened in this drive? Well, you can see right after I just said it, I said Henderson run, and then pass, pass, pass. And then they kick a field goal and miss it. So it's, again, you have to have this. They're being, like, early on in the season, they were just way too predictable. They'd run it a little bit, and then they would stop. And when things, push came to shove, if they weren't getting a first down on, say, second down, they would just pass it. And so that was a big thing there. So then you miss the field goal. The momentum goes back to Arizona. The defense held Arizona to a field goal. So, that was a good win by the defense. A 55-yard field goal is not a bad win for the defense. That's a good win. They missed the field goal, and then Arizona on the next drive, the momentum is shifting their way. And the defense is just forced. This is why I felt as though Raheem, it's punt, touchdown, 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 right? Okay? So they scored 3 touchdowns right after the punt. But if you really look at it, what happened? Well, the Arizona Cardinals, the touchdown comes off an interception. Okay? And then the next touchdown, that's a long drive. So it took them 11 plays, so I get that. And the next drive, though, this is the thing. This is why, like, DVOA matters. Because to me, they've given up at this point 14 points. You know, obviously, the turnover didn't kill. I mean, turnover's not great, but it was like an arm punt, right? I mean, it was pass intercepted at the Arizona 13. But when you look at, say, the fumble here by Sony Michel, their touchdown, they start at the LA 21 for their drive. I mean, that's essentially the offense giving up those points. So they start the LA 21, and then after that, the Rams punt, and then they get this crucial 3 and out, and then they hold them to a field goal, and then they hold them to another field goal, a 55-yard field goal, which is like, I mean, that's pretty good defense there. Rams miss a field goal, and then they give up a touchdown here, which, this is just, at this point, the momentum is gone. Rams are now down 34-13. The Rams have a turnover on downs here in the next drive. Coming off the kickoff, you have, starting at the 25, Stafford 8 yards to Van, 7 yards to Kupp. Incomplete to Van, but there is illegal use of hands on Andrew Whitworth that is going to make it... I don't know why it's called on Andrew Whitworth. Okay, I see it now. So it's going to make it 1st and 20. So they'll take the penalty. Instead of it being 3rd down, they'll take it 1st and 20. Pass incomplete, short left to Kupp. Pass deep middle to Van Jefferson for 22. Then at the Arizona 48, defensive pass interference. And then you have at the Arizona 35, you have an 8-yard pass to Cooper Kupp. You have an incompletion. Then on 3rd and 2, Matthew Stafford takes off and runs for 8 yards at the Arizona 19. There's a 6-yard pass to Tyler Higbee, and then a 5-yard run by Stafford, and then a pass incomplete, and then a scramble up the middle for 7 for Stafford, and then left guard no gain. And then at 4th and 1, the Rams go for an incomplete pass to Tyler Higbee. Turnover on downs at the Arizona 1, and here is my thing on this. Where at any point on this drive did they run the football? And I understand they're down 34-13, but I hate to break it to you, your running game was the only thing that was truly working well. As I said, Henderson averaged 6.4 yards per carry in this game, and they stopped running the football. Again, I understand it's 34-13, but there's this myth out there where people think just because you're down by more than one score, you can't run the football because it takes too much time off the clock. Well, when you really look at Rams plays, you look at the yards after catch that Cooper Kupp gets. Those plays end up being long as it is, if you really think about it. So it's just stupid to just stop running the football. You're at the 4-yard line. You're not running the football. You're passing every time. It's just stupid, and that's a big thing. The turnover on downs at the 1-yard line, at the goal line on a 13-play, 74-yard drive. There you go. That's ball game. So that's why they lost to Arizona in the first game, guys. That's why. They stopped running the football, which is what they started doing yesterday. So if they go back to that, they have a chance to beat Arizona. I think they will beat Arizona. I think Arizona's a good football team, but it's not like they haven't lost this season. You can really run against them. A big thing with Arizona that I've noticed is that, since Chase Edmonds has been out, their running game, they're really leaning heavily on James Conner. Conner, he may fool you. I mean, he can make some plays out of the backfield as a pass catcher. He's automatic at the goal line, and he might be leading the league in rushing touchdowns. But I mean, James Conner without Chase Edmonds, there's not a complement there, And I think with Arizona, they're not going to be able to run the football the way they did against the Rams, which, by the way, another thing, Arizona's run game against the Rams is extremely inflated. So if you look, Chase Edmonds had 12 carries for 120 yards. 54 of those 120 yards came on one play in garbage time. Like, the game was over. The Rams are down by 17. The game's over. Late in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, for the most part, they held James Conner. Oh, he had 2 touchdowns. Yeah, great for fantasy. But James Conner, he ran for 2.8 yards per carry. Kyler Murray, I mean, he ran for 6.5, but he only took off 6 times. It's not about what Kyler Murray does as a runner. It's about what Kyler Murray does as far as keeping the play going and an improviser. And so if the Cardinals do that and they try to run the ball on the Rams will stop the run. They've been doing it. Like I said, there's not a team that is allowing fewer yards per carry for any of their opponents over the last 5 games than the Rams. None. Yeah, if Chase Edmonds plays on Monday night, cool. But like I said, Chase Edmonds, it's an inflated stat line. They held James Conner to 18 carries, 50 yards, 2.8 average. He had 2 touchdowns, again, both in the red zone, both at the goal line, actually. But 18, 50 yards. That's 2.8. I mean, that's a great job by the Rams defense. And then Chase Edmonds in week 4, 12 carries, 120 yards. 54 of those were on one play. So, guys, I'm telling you, the Rams had an opportunity to win this game. It didn't look it at times, but they really did. They abandoned the run. The time of possession was bad because they abandoned the run. And their third down efficiency rating was pretty good. 6 of 11, not horrible. They got to do a better job at stopping Arizona's 8 out of 13. They had 24 first downs to Arizona's 27. And they had over 400 yards of total offense against Arizona's defense. You know? Stafford didn't play all that bad. I mean, this is the number 1 defense. Arizona has the number 1 pass defense in DVOA. I don't think the Rams played all that bad, considering the fact. Stafford threw 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, a dumb interception. But yeah, I mean, that's what happened. You know, that's why it... Just imagine if Deshaun Jackson went up there and actually defended it or caught the pass, you know. But, I mean, the Rams averaged more yards per play than Arizona. They both had the same amount of drives. You know. Rams had 3 sacks on Kyler Murray. Rams got pressure on Kyler Murray. I mean, like I said, you know, the Cardinals are winning games. They're 10-2. They're the best-looking team, but they do have their weaknesses. I just think they're teams that just haven't exploited them. Plus, the last time the Cardinals really played a great team, I mean, you know, the Niners are playing good football, but they're not, like, great. You know what I mean? A great team was the Packers, and they lost 24-21. Aside from that, the Cardinals played the Titans early on in the season. The Titans didn't look good early on in the season, if you remember. 38-13. They beat the Vikings on a game-winning field goal, 34-33, at home. They beat the Jaguars. The Rams were their big staple win. Yeah, the questionable roughing the passer call was bad. They beat the Niners by 7. They beat the Browns. I don't think the Browns are very good. I don't even know if they'll make the playoffs, to be honest with you. I think they're overrated. They blew out the Texans, and then arguably against the best team they've played all season, the Packers, they lost. They beat the Niners. They lost to the Panthers. They got blown out by the Panthers. They beat the Seahawks by 10. They beat the Bears by 11. I'm just saying. You know, I definitely wouldn't say it's an impossible game to win. Because it's not. It's not impossible. There's a very good chance the Rams could win on Monday Night Football. And it doesn't matter if they're on the road or not. Cardinals are 3-2 at home. The Rams are 4-2 on the road. I mean, it's like whatever. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I mean, Rams allow 257.1 passing yards per game. Arizona allows 220.8. Rams allow 100.4 rushing yards. Arizona allows 113.7. Rams average 399.4 total yards. Arizona averages 386.8. Rams allow 22.5 points per game. The Cardinals allow 18.7, and the Rams average 28 points per game to the Cardinals 28.6. But do you see Vaughn getting a sack in this game? Yeah. I mean, I'm not disrespecting the Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals could very easily win this game too. But I mean, I think the Rams are a better team when fully healthy. And, I will say this, the last however many times the Rams played the Cardinals, they won. So I'm not about to be the guy that says the one time the Cardinals beat the Rams, now the Cardinals should be by far the favorites. I mean, Sean McVay has had Cliff Kingsbury's number. It just, obviously that game was a little different, and the Cardinals are a better team than the Cardinals of the past. Yes, that's a good question. I do think the Rams can go into Green Bay and beat them. I mean, think about this. They lost by 8 to a team that had two-thirds of the game. Two-thirds of the game, that team had the offense on the field, and they still barely had, more offensive yards than the Rams. I mean, the way I see it, I think the Rams are likely going to win out, or they're going to win until they get to the Niners game, and then they'll lose to the Niners. That's how I see it. I kind of feel like they're going to beat the Ravens. I mean, I thought for a while there's no way they're going to beat the Ravens. The Ravens just match up too well. I don't know what the Ravens do. I mean, dude, think about this. I like the Ravens. I like, Harbaugh a lot. Big Lamar Jackson fan. But they're now without Marlon Humphrey for the year. So they don't have a running game to speak of. None of those guys are running for over 3 yards per carry against the Rams. Lamar would, but he's not a running back. And Marlon Humphrey's gone. So it's like, I do like Anthony Averett. I think he's filled in well at corner. But it's like their corners are just battered. It's going to be Anthony Averett, Jimmy Smith, Tavon Young, Chris Westry. I mean, they lost Marcus Peters for the year. Now they lost Marlon Humphrey. Like you just said, Lamar Jackson's the most sacked quarterback in the league. I just, I don't know. And honestly, this isn't the best offensive line I've seen Lamar have either. It's actually not very good. So, They lost Ronnie Stanley again for the second straight season. By the way, that really blew up in their face. I feel for them because they had Ronnie Stanley and they had Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown forced to trade. Ronnie Stanley was coming back. Orlando Brown wanted to play left tackle, and they were like, nope, that's Ronnie Stanley. You can play right tackle. He said, no, I want to play left. And so now they trade him away for Ronnie Stanley, but Ronnie Stanley's out for the season. So now you have Alejandro Villanueva playing left tackle, and you have Patrick McCarry playing at right tackle with Kevin Zeitler, Bradley Bozeman, and Ben Powers. It's just not the best offensive line that they've had, not even close. And so it's really hurt them. So, I'm not exactly worried about the Ravens. Extra worried, so to speak. Vikings, same thing. Could be a trap game, but I don't know. I mean, the Rams have beat the Vikings before. The Vikings have beat the Rams before. The Cardinals game is really it. If they beat the Cardinals, they can win out if they beat the Cardinals. The Stafford choking NFL AZ Cardinals, thank you so much for being in here. I do appreciate it. I know, listening to an opposing viewpoint might be a little annoying, but I just think the Matthew Stafford choking narrative is like really off base. Not just you. I mean, I see it a lot. Stafford has 30 touchdowns, 9 interceptions on the season. He has the third highest QBR. He's one of the top quarterbacks in DVOA. He's third in passing yards with 3,611. His team is 8-4. I just don't really, I don't get the choking. I mean, he did go toe to toe with everyone's favorite quarterback, or the god, so to speak, of football, Tom Brady, and he beat him pretty easily. By the way, that was a nationally televised game. He threw 4 touchdowns, 343 yards, went head-to-head, beat him, beat Carson Wentz. He beat Russell Wilson. I mean, I just, I don't understand the choking, so to speak. If he goes to the playoffs and he throws 3 interceptions and they lose in the first round, that's choking. But choking to me isn't throwing for 3,611 yards, 66.7 completion percentage, 8.2 yards per pass, 30 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, having 106.3 passer rating. That's not what I would call choking. Matthew Stafford's 0-17 versus teams against a team with a record 5+ games over 500. Oh my God. That is such a Michael Irvin stat. My God. We had to do the 5+ games over 500. That's such a, I don't know. Some of those stat polls are hilariously pathetic. Not saying you are, but I just, some of those stat polls are absolutely ridiculous. Like, oh, Matthew Stafford is 0-8 when the sun sets in the west and rises in the east, and it's winter and the power's out in LA, and on top of that, the running back left his shoe in the locker room, and it's like, dear God, it's always such a reach on those. Like, Cooper Kupp is the first receiver to ever catch 100 yards when he's fasting intermittently. Like, just like, what the hell, man? I don't know. Some of those I just don't take very seriously. I think they're kind of funny. That's just me. But guys, we're over 100 people watching, but I only have 50 likes. So that tells me that either you guys are watching me to not be enjoyed, or you are and you just haven't liked it. I'm going to go with the latter here. Please give it a thumbs up for me. Please give this this video a thumbs up. Like this video. Let YouTube know. Let's get back out there in the algorithm, because it's kind of annoying that we're not. But Kyler is the new Sam Bradford. I don't know about that one. Don't know about that one, Chief. I'm fine with the Cardinals being the regular season champs. They haven't been in the playoffs. It will be interesting to see how they play off football. Got you, bro. Thank you, David. They make up new stat every freaking day. Well, I mean, you're right. They do. It's all the time. When a quarterback is tying his shoe, he is 0-2. It's like, dear God. Someone post a funny comment about a stupid stat that someone would put up. One of the talking heads would post. No, I know, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you being on here. Like I've said over and over and over again, all fans are welcome. All. It's an 85% Rams channel, but I still do other things, and I do have fans of other teams. I almost said buy. I don't know what that word is. I did buy tickets to see Spider-Man. I cannot wait for that movie. Best quarterback right now. I mean, I tend to lean towards Aaron Rodgers still. I mean, he's just unbelievable, man. What he does, on the fly when a play is just not there. I just think he's incredible, and his mobility, his improvisational skills, the way he manipulates the defense with his eyes, manipulates the pocket with his footwork. He's just great. Matthew Stafford and the Rams are 0-4 when trailing after the fourth quarter. Are you kidding me? Say it ain't so. I gotta see a split on that. I don't know if that's entirely true, but I'm gonna find that out. Let's look at all-time splits. I'm gonna look that up for you. Okay, so career splits, Matthew Stafford. Why can I not find it? Okay, Matthew Stafford in the first quarter has a 65.9% completion percentage for a career, 10,609 yards, 69 touchdowns, 25 interceptions, a 96.4 passer rating, has been sacked 68 times. In the second quarter, he has 85 passing touchdowns to 50 interceptions, so he's more of a gunslinger in the second quarter. 61.7 completion percentage. His yards per attempt are actually lower, which is surprising. And he runs more. Third quarter, he has 65 passing touchdowns, 33 interceptions, a 95.2 passer rating, a 65.48 completion percentage. And then the fourth quarter, he has a 59.8 completion percentage all-time, 92 passing touchdowns, 45 interceptions, 87.4 passer rating, and he sacked 127 times in the fourth quarter. Overtime, Matthew Stafford has only been overtime. It doesn't look like much. 26 out of 44, 406 yards, 59% completion percentage, a touchdown, 0 interceptions, 97.3 passer rating. He's been sacked 3 times in the fourth quarter. In the first half, Stafford has 154 touchdowns to 75 interceptions, 91.2 passer rating, 63% completion percentage. And in the second half, he has 157 touchdowns, 78 interceptions, and has a 90.8 passer rating to a 62.2% completion percentage. So, what did we learn from this split? Well, right off the rip, Matthew Stafford throws the fewest touchdowns in the third quarter. He throws the most in the fourth. He throws the second most in the second. And he throws the third most in the first. He is sacked more than any quarter in the fourth quarter. In the second quarter, he is right there. They're both over 100 sacks. He has the highest completion percentage when it comes to the first quarter and the third quarter, almost identical, and the same passer rating. He throws more interceptions in the fourth quarter. Actually, throws more interceptions in the second quarter. And let's see. His yards per attempt is highest in the third. He's thrown the most yards, period, in the second quarter. So, basically what I'm seeing here is that his most efficient quarter is probably, when you really look at it, the first quarter. So I don't know if I would say he struggles in the first quarter. I don't think he gets off to entirely shaky starts. But yeah, that's what I have there. Glad we did that. Yes, thank you. Headphones are absolutely dope. I have a video actually, with the Sony XM4s. I have a video on the channel of me just giving my thoughts on them, reviewing them a little bit. So if you're interested in those, check them out. Rate the O-line. I'd say it's 4 out of 5, 8 out of 10, something like that. Funny how we didn't hear about Stafford injuries. Keep that same energy when he plays the better teams. You think Matt LaFleur would be a good coach even without Rodgers? I do. Keenan Allen in COVID protocol. Big loss if he can't play for fantasy owners next week. Oh, that's not good. Jake, would love to have you on my live stream one day. Would like to talk football. At the end of the day, I respect your channel. Fun game come Monday Night Football. Yeah, anytime. Just reach out to me on Twitter, or if you don't have Twitter, you can email me. My email is jkbogan15@gmail.com. And we'll hash something out. Yeah, I do think that Matt LaFleur would still be a good coach without him. Yeah, those are the quarterly stats, David. Oh, this season? Oh, let me check. By the way, just because I can, Matthew Stafford against the Los Angeles Rams, or Los Angeles / St. Louis Rams, is 2-3. He has a 62% completion percentage, 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 82.9 passer rating, and he's been sacked 12 times. And just because I was curious to see, he has the best. He's thrown more touchdowns against the Packers, it looks like, than any other team, which makes sense. They're a division rival. The best completion percentage would be against the Buccaneers. He is 4-2 against the Buccaneers and has a 71 completion percentage. 14 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 105 passer rating. Let's see. The best overall record probably would be... Oh, he's randomly 5-0 against Washington. He's 11-2, 11 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So that's interesting. He's never beaten the Titans. He's 0-4 against the Titans. That's random. He's never beaten the Steelers. 0-2 with 50. Wow, that's the worst completion percentage of any team he's gone up against. He has a 50% completion percentage against the Steelers. Where was I going to check? He's 7-14 against the Packers. He's 12-9 against the Bears. Let's see the rest of the way. Okay, so Stafford is against the Arizona Cardinals. He's 3-5-1. He's got 14 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He's been sacked 17 times, has an 84.9 passer rating, 62.31 completion percentage. And then against the San Francisco 49ers, he is 1-4. 63% completion percentage, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. That is a 91.2 passer rating. Against Seattle, he is 2-3. He's 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Who else do they have on their schedule? Baltimore. He's 0-2 against Baltimore. 66.6% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, a 76.6 passer rating. And then the Minnesota Vikings, he is 8-13 against the Vikings, 63% completion percentage, 31 touchdowns to 11 interceptions, and he has 89.5 passer rating. So he definitely has his moments. Against Jacksonville, he's 4-0. Figured I'd throw that out there. So, yeah, interesting stuff. And if he does go against, say, the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs, he's 2-2 against them. But sorry, I'm going to go back to David was wondering this year, so I'm going to check this year, his quarterly. Okay. So Matthew Stafford per quarter this season. Let's see here. First quarter, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 88.7 passer rating. Okay, so he's shakier this year in the first quarter for some reason. 65% completion percentage. Second quarter, 67.6 completion percentage, 1,036 yards, 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 103.9 passer rating. Third quarter, 64%, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception, 115.4 passer rating. And the fourth quarter, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 116.8 passer rating. So, Matthew Stafford has thrown 8 of his 9 interceptions in the first half. That's interesting. So he hasn't, I mean, I don't want to jinx this. There's me knocking on wood. Matthew Stafford hasn't been picked off in the fourth quarter this year. Yeah. Fun fact, he's thrown 11 touchdowns and only 1 interception on 1st and 10. I don't know. I just think at the end of the day, he's misunderstood by a lot of the BS narratives around there. I mean, obviously, first down, he's the best quarterback. Like, he's his best on first down. Yeah. No, you're very right. I don't know, some interesting splits in the I don't know what a reach roof is. A ret roof. Retractable roof. That's probably what they mean. I'm an idiot. So in a retractable roof, he has 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, 115.2 passer rating. The outdoors, Stafford has thrown 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 96.4 passer rating. And in a dome, Stafford has 16 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and he has 110 passer rating. So when he is outdoors, he doesn't play as well. Basically, is what they're saying. What the stats are showing. Although he's not horrible, but, you know. Stafford against the NFC North this year, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. Love these splits, man. In 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. games, Stafford's played 5 to as opposed to 4 7 p.m. or later games and 3 1 p.m. games. Stafford has 15 touchdowns to 2 interceptions in afternoon 4 p.m. games. Interesting. Has a higher passer rating, though, in the earlier 1 p.m. games. Stafford, by far, has more yards per attempt in early 1 p.m. games. Are the Rams a better 1 p.m. team? That's kind of weird. I mean, basically, the Rams win the game mostly when Stafford, 23 touchdowns, 3 interceptions came and wins. So most of the time when Stafford plays well, they win. And when they lose, Stafford 7 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Stafford is better at home. They played the same amount of games, 4-2, both at home and on the road. He has a better completion percentage, 68 at home to 65 on the road. He's over 1,800 yards passing at home, over 1,700 on the road. He's got 16 touchdowns to 3 interceptions at home, 14 to 6 interceptions on the road. He's been sacked more at home. He averages more yards per attempt on the road. And he has a higher passer rating at home, 110 to 102.1. Man, these splits are crazy. Yeah, these splits are pretty crazy. I mean, Johnny Mont's been hurt all year, so I mean, you're talking about as opposed to last year. That I don't know, like I mean, I am curious. Darrell Henderson splits. Well, the problem is Darrell Henderson splits would be they're just not accurate if you go by home and away, because he's played in 6 road games and 3 home games if you really think about it. So Oh yeah, the OBJ celebration was amazing. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Yeah, he was always hurt. All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to do it. Was going to do Bogan's bets, but like I said, really just felt like talking Rams, and I get people in here and I don't really get people in when I do that. So, appreciate you guys stopping by. Be sure to drop a like and a thumbs up before you leave. And yeah, we'll do more of this. So, you guys take care. I'll see you guys soon. Later.